Hello and welcome back to Maison Couchette, the internet's favorite variety show, where we talk about perfumes, Bad Bunny, and Japan. This is the first time I've actually sat down and recorded a video in like 3 weeks. I have been in Japan, as you might be able to tell from the title or the caption, but today we're dabbling back into the fragrance content, while also keeping it travel themed. But what I'm going to be talking about today is my 3 favorite fragrance shopping experiences while I was in Japan. We packed a lot of things into 10 days and we didn't have a huge amount of time for fragrance shopping experiences. So there are a few more that I could have done. I did want to explore a little bit more of the J scent line. Also, there's a branch where you can make your own perfumes in store, which would have been cool. But my mentality was, well, I can make better perfumes at home. Why do I need to go to this place and make one? And there's also a lot of boutique stores as well. And a lot of brands have their own like individual stores or stalls. Actually, a little side note one before I go into the main 3. I didn't get any footage of this, but we did go to this shopping center in Shibuya in Tokyo. It's in the same building as the Pokemon Center. And this is where they have a lot of fragrance boutiques. We went to Hermes and some of their fragrances were quite cool. There was a Byredo stall. There was also a Margiela store, like a physical Margiela store just for the replica fragrance line. We also went to the Universal Bully store, and there were a few other stores that we checked out in the area as well. I don't remember all of them off the top of my head, but there were fragrances everywhere. I don't remember the name of the center right now, but I'm gonna pop it here on the screen. So if you do wanna check it out, I do highly recommend doing so. Also, by the way, this is not green screen behind me. This is my TV. So yeah, that's why the green screen's so perfect. Anyway, here are the 3 best fragrance shopping experiences that I had while I was in Japan. We're gonna be doing 3 different categories of shopping experiences today. The first is department store, the second is a brand store, and the third is like a private niche store. So the first one, now I feel like this is a staple if you're visiting Japan, but it is Cosme. Yep, you have probably heard of it before. But the one that I'm talking about specifically is the store in Harajuku, directly across from the Harajuku station, about here on the map. This store is massive. It is 3 levels of all different types of cosmetic products. But right up on the 3rd floor, there is a dedicated floor, which is admittedly smaller than the other 2, dedicated entirely to fragrance. Now, I did do a little bit of a walkthrough through the section, but their brand selection was really, really, really impressive. They had a lot happening there. There was just bottles on bottles on bottles, and I just wanted to try everything. However, I did not have that time. The one brand I did want to check out while I was in Japan was J scent, and I did get to try a few of their bottles. Look, I do have a little bit of an understanding of Japan's fragrance market and how it differs from the Western fragrance markets. So these scents really did align with what I expected from Japanese fragrances. But I wasn't blown away by any of them. There was one in particular that I did quite like and I was going to consider buying, but I never really got the time to go back and get it. But I also did not try the whole line. They only had a small selection there. And that is the one downside I would say about this Cosme store, is they have massive brand selection, but what is available from these brands is quite limited compared to their full offering. That is the one downside I would say for Cosme. But there are fragrances on fragrances on fragrances in this store. And if you like your kind of designer or easily accessible niche fragrances mixed in with a few Japanese brands, I do highly recommend checking it out. Now, these next 2 experiences I did on the same day, and these were both in Kyoto. Now, the first one, which I feel like is an iconic fragrance store that like everybody knows about, it is the Labo store and cafe in Kyoto. It is without a doubt one of the most beautiful retail spaces I have ever entered. And honestly, it just transcends like retail space. The entire setup is just mind-blowing. It really gives you kind of that feel of stepping into a traditional style Japanese home, and it was just so cool. One thing that I found really cool as soon as I walked into the store was I could see the perfumers actually like putting all of the orders together, and even caught a little sneak peek at their like formula sheets, and I could see the concentrations that they're actually making up the fragrances into. And I did note that pretty much all of them were different, which was really, really interesting. There was some as low as like 10% and then some going as high as into like the mid-20s. One thing to note with the Labo store is you will be waiting a while. We initially lined up at about probably 10:30, 11 o'clock. And we were in line for probably 30 to 40 minutes to get into the store. Once you're in the store, you get a dedicated customer service rep to help you try through the scents, see what you want to pick out. Now, I will preface, the experience in Labo is very, very much tailored for you to buy something. It is very difficult to go in there and just look at the store and just smell to your heart's content. The bottles are pretty much guarded for their lives by the employees. But we were in there to buy some stuff, and buy some stuff we did. We picked up Matcha 26 and Osmanthus 19. Now, Osmanthus 19 is the Kyoto city exclusive. I haven't opened these yet because we still need to do some content around it, so I'm still leaving them in their boxes for the time being. Matcha 26 is talked about a lot. I think everyone is pretty familiar with how good this is. But Osmanthus 19, if you haven't been to Kyoto, I would highly recommend going to smell this fragrance. We originally had the plan to go in and just buy a matcha. We're gonna buy a 50 ml version of it, but when we smelled Osmanthus 19, we needed to have it. So as opposed to getting one 50 ml bottle, we decided to get two 15 ml bottles. Because we have a pretty extensive collection, we don't necessarily need to have the biggest size bottles. So the 15 mils were perfectly fine for us. What they also have in the Labo store in Kyoto is a dedicated upstairs kind of creative area. And they have a full-blown perfumer's desk up there as well. I was like fully nerding out up there. It was incredible. And they have like hundreds of materials on the perfumer's desk and you can actually smell them. Like, it's not like they're like, you know, dummy bottles filled with water. They've got the actual materials in them. Oh my God, it was just so cool. They do also have a cafe in the Labo store and you can get yourself some coffee. And you can actually go in and get the coffee while you're waiting in line. However, if you're going just by yourself, it might be a little bit difficult. I was with my partner, so it was easy that she could go in, get the coffee, and I could wait outside. As far as the coffee goes, for Japanese standards, it's pretty good. For Australian standards, not so much. The one really cool thing they do, which they do in all the Labo stores, this is not unique to Kyoto, it is all customized for you. So this label will also appear on the bottle. So it tells you where it's compounded, so obviously in Kyoto, on the date, and then who it's for. So this is where your name goes. Now, me and my partner had our names translated into kanji, so we got it written on our labels here. Now, the last place on my list, it did come as a bit of a surprise find. It wasn't planned for us to go to this particular store, but we just kind of stumbled across it and we thought, why not? And that place is called Sillage in Kyoto. Sillage is a dedicated niche perfume store, and this really did rival the Labo store in terms of vibes. And the brands that they were stocking, I had never heard of them. The only brand I recognized was Montal, but all of the other ones were just super niche brands I'd pretty much never heard of. And I went crazy. I was smelling everything, and oh my God, when I tell you that some of the stuff I smelled was like, it was like God had perfumed it himself. Some of it was beautiful. I smelled one of the most amazing vanilla scents I'd ever smelled in my life. Some beautiful amber scents. It was just incredible. Look, I did go on this trip with a little bit of a budget and I wasn't planning on spending too much. But I went to the person running the store. I was like, hey, like, how much are these? They didn't just come and give me a price. No. They came and said, Matt, come here, sit down. I picked up these two bottles. I was like, oh, I just want to know the price of these. They sat me down, they put these bottles here, and then they just got all these other bottles. They put them in front of me. They were like getting me to try all of them. It's like, oh, so you like these? We'll get you, like, try these ones as well. It was honestly probably the coolest fragrance shopping experience I've ever had. And it was so personalized, and the staff really know their stuff. I was taken aback. I was so impressed. Unfortunately, the perfumes that I wanted were like $500-600. So I did not purchase them, but it was such a cool shopping experience, and I definitely want to go back there one day and make some purchases because it's just an incredible store. So these were my 3 favorite fragrance shopping experiences while I was in Japan. These stores are super accessible, and if you're going to Tokyo or Kyoto, they're gonna be in pretty easily accessible areas as well. So if you have a trip coming up to Japan, or if you've been thinking about going, I do highly recommend checking out these places. But hey, me and my partner have already been talking about going back to Japan. So if you've been to Japan as well, what are some of your favorite fragrance shopping experiences that you've had? Anyway, that is all I have for you guys today. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed, please consider subscribing and or following, depending on where you're watching this. I really hope you enjoyed today's video. And as always, I will see you guys next time.